This is Real Deal Sports Talk with KP, January 26, 2019.
Mr. Green.
I'm vowed to be the nicest. On the mic it with rhyme writing. My mind states gone cipher, divine righteous. This is the sound of refinement. Extra time spent on every line written. You can hear the difference when I'm rhyming. The barbarian rap writings like Clash of the Titans. I wield the pen like Poseidon holding the golden triton. On the mic I strike faster than vipers and flashes of bolts of lightning. My poetry will leave the Pope enlightened. Whack rappers is past time, you paid the Pied Piper. As the price just skyrocket, I stand to make a profit. I rap circles and spirals above your favorite artist, like an identifiable flying object. With balls so far over your head, I might as well be rhyming in high orbit. If I dumb the metaphors down, you think the sky was falling. Rappers' arms too short to shadow box with the lords in the pantheon of rap. I'm the high exalted, the new God flow. Prepare your offering. I treat the booth like the synagogue, cause the mic's my calling. I should congregate a following, although agnostic. You felt the flow was God sent, further personifying my Messiah complex.
And welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk. It's your boy KP. It's January 26th. We are almost to the Super Bowl. 1 week from tomorrow, we will be at Super Bowl 53. We will be watching the Rams and the Patriots. We're not going to talk very much Super Bowl today. It might creep its way into the show a little bit. I'm not scheduled to talk about it today. We'll talk about that next week, Super Bowl week. Still trying to work things out with Vance Johnson. Make sure we can get him on the show next week. Busy guy. He's doing a lot of stuff this week with the Pro Bowl. If you guys checked out his event calendar at vancecares.com, you can see everything he's got going on there. You can reach out to him if you need help with addiction recovery, if you need guest speakers, if you need keynote speakers, if you need somebody to come speak to your high school, if you just need somebody to listen. You're available. He's available. vancecares.com. Still trying to work it out to get him on the show February 2nd, Saturday before the Super Bowl. So, what do you guys got on tap today? Saturday, you're tuning in, you're listening to me. Are you paying attention to the Pro Bowl coverage? Are you watching these different events that have taken place this week? I personally have not. I've lost interest in the NFL Pro Bowl. I really like the skills competitions from when I was back in the 90s, back in the way they did it back then. I was watching some of the highlights of those actually this week. So I'm not really watching that this week. I got the show. We're going to do the show here. Then the wife's out of town. She went to visit her aunt's grave for I believe the 20th anniversary of her passing down in Oklahoma, down in Tulsa this weekend. So, I'm going to get the house cleaned up, do some little projects around the house, try and make things nice for her when she comes back. So that's what I'll be doing today. Of course, we're talking sports. We were going to talk Royal Rumble today. That is tomorrow, the Royal Rumble for the WWE. We're going to talk about whether or not Rodger Goodell has a responsibility to have some kind of a statement made and come out and give some kind of a press conference or something because of the blown call in the Saints and Rams game. We're going to talk about it's Super Bowl tattoo season. It's already happened. It's already been posted. It's already gone viral. Rams Super Bowl 53 champion tattoos. We see them every year. So we'll talk about team tattoos and Super Bowl tattoos, and we got some fun facts we're going to get to as well, mostly about football, some about basketball, but we'll get to those. Let's start with the team tattoos. I have a team tattoo. I have a tattoo that I'm working on that's going to continue to include more of my story, teams that I have played for, things that I've done in my life, and my favorite team, the Detroit Lions. I can understand team tattoos. I really do. Some of them are really nice. Some of them find the right artist, and they come out really well. I'm hoping mine comes out really well. It's still in the beginning phases. Maybe I'll put some pictures out after the whole piece is done. So I get team tattoos. I do. I'm a tattoo guy. I have almost a dozen tattoos myself at this point. I'm working on a 3/4 sleeve. So, I get the appeal of tattoos. For me, they are very addicting. If I had more money, I'd probably have more tattoos is where I'm at with them. So I get it. It's a great way to show your loyalness, your fanhood, have a cool piece of art most of the time, or just, wear a badge of shame because you lost a bet and now you got to carry this tattoo forever. A lot of guys grow up and get their favorite team tattooed on them and play for different teams, or get the team they were drafted for, or the school they went to in college. So I'm all about it. I like tattoos. I'm for them. If you want it and you're sure about it, and you know that in 40 years you're still going to look at that tattoo and be like, you know what, that was a good choice, and not some spur of the moment design that you made when you were a teenager and just thought tattoos were cool, go ahead, follow through with it. For sure. Team tattoos, whatever. But, and there's a but, there's always a but. These Super Bowl tattoos, that does not show that you are so loyal and you believe in your team more than anybody else. It shows that you are an idiot. That's like putting your first girlfriend's name or your first boyfriend's name on your body somewhere. That relationship's not going to last. That's a crapshoot. Now you got this tattoo that says your team's a Super Bowl champ, and if they don't win, then what? You're going to go spend more money to get a cover-up? Is it going to be a funny joke you tell for the rest of your life how you got this stupid tattoo and they didn't win the game? A reminder of the loss if that's what happens? A constant reminder that not only did you go get that tattoo because you thought, oh, my team is the best, we're going to win, but now you're carrying around this blemish. It's not even good art anymore. You have to go get it turned into good art. These people are idiots. I don't know how many of them it's actually worked out for, where they 2 weeks before a Super Bowl, they get their team tattooed as champs. It can't be very many. It seems like every year the people that we see do this are the teams that end up losing. It'd be interesting to go back through time and see how many posts we can find of these people doing this, and see how many of them actually got the tattoo of the winning team. And it was actually ahead of time, and not let me go get my Super Bowl tattoo after the championship. If you get one after the championship, okay, a lot of people tattoo dates and important events on themselves. That takes that same act and makes it completely different. Same tattoo, same Super Bowl title, same Super Bowl champ, same team name, same helmet, logo, mascot, whatever. Before the game, idiotic, stupid. Does not make you a better fan, doesn't make you more loyal, doesn't make you seem like you believe in them more and you've got more faith than everybody else because you were willing to put that ink and permanent. After the game, oh yeah, what a cool reminder of something that, I lived through and, I was a big fan of and got to see and experience. Big difference. Big difference. So these team tattoos in general, hey, thumbs up. Do what you do. Super Bowl tattoos before a win, we done with that. We're done with that. It's like burning jerseys. It's just stupid. We're done with that. We're better than that. All right? All of us, as fans, as athletes, former athletes, wannabe athletes, fanatics, bandwagoners, people who just jump on it for something to do. We're all better than that. Let's cut out the early Super Bowl champion tattoos, and let's cut out the burning jerseys. Okay? You're not making a point. You're copying somebody else. It's foolish. They already got your money. So let's just can we be done with it? Can we be done with it? All right, I'm done talking about that now. Now, this is where I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of backlash. And I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of backlash on this because we're about to talk about what I think the commissioner should have to do in the situation of a completely blown call like that happened in the NFC Championship game. Now, we've spoke about it on this show many times. You've heard athletes say it many times. When athletes say it, everybody says, oh, they're taking the high road. That's what they have to say. But let's be real. That play did not cost them the game. In the first quarter alone, they got into the red zone and were not able to capitalize and score touchdowns. They settled for field goals. That changes the outcome of the game. There was face masks called. There was the lack of false starts being called. Opportunities throughout the game that were missed. It's a whole game. Yes, that call was atrocious. Quite possibly the worst call that was missed in the history of playoff football. I'm not doubting that. I'm convinced that was pass interference. I'm convinced that was a hit on a defenseless receiver. I'm convinced that was a blow to the head. Face guarding. I mean, pick your penalty. I'm convinced that the ref had to have just been watching like he was a fan and not doing his job. There's no way to not see that penalty unless you tuned out for a second and went, uh-oh. Never mind, I'm not going to throw it. I didn't see anything. Now, we're not going to hear from the refs, which I think we should at some point. At least a written statement. Like, again, I don't think they need to give a press conference. But that one call, and even Drew Brees has said it, and yes, maybe he's taking the high road instead of trying to put something out there in the media. But he's the team leader, so maybe that's to be expected. But there were many opportunities for both teams to put that game away, to move ahead, to take over, to grasp the momentum. And it was a tough battle game. And it really sucks that it was for the Super Bowl and that they didn't get in. But you can focus on that and you can let that be a crutch, or you can put that chip on your shoulder, take a couple weeks off to gather yourself, get back in there, hone your craft, and come back next year and whoop everybody's ass. Now, we know that Sean Payton talked to the commissioner this week, or the league offices at the very least. We know that they called Sean Payton after the NFC Championship game and said it was a no call. They should have made the call there. We know now that the Rams defender has been fined $26,000 for a blow to the head. So indirectly, they've said, yes, should have been a penalty there. We're fining him for this act. They've let the team know, it's the most important to let the team know that they messed up. And they missed it. But whenever do commissioners get involved in situations like this and come out and give a press conference? We often see written statements throughout the whole NFL season and preseason. Bad calls, missed calls. We're very used to seeing some kind of a written statement come out from the league office saying, hey, the crew missed the call on this play, or that wasn't a foul and it shouldn't have been called, or that and we've come around on turnovers. We figured out how to make sure, we're going to decide, is it a turnover or not? Now, instant replay, it's a flawed system. Very much a flawed system. I'm personally on the side, any play that the coach deems he wants to challenge should be challengeable for any reason. You don't give them more challenges. Same rules apply. You lose your challenge, you lose your timeout. You want to call a flag and see if that was pass interference or not? Okay, let's see. Well, maybe we missed something. Okay, cool. You won, great. We move on. That's what I think that system should be. The idea that you can't go back and somehow review plays that didn't happen. Yes, you can. You just don't give them more challenges. You leave that human element aspect in there at some point because the coach is going to have to decide, the team will have to decide, do we use this one here on this play? Because what if something later bigger like that pass interference call happens, or lack of pass interference call happens? I've heard the argument this week that if it's a play that big, then the commissioner should come out and give a public statement. Okay, well, again, go to other leagues. When do we see commissioners do that? Not for things like this. How about when Kevin Durant, earlier this year, walks out of bounds, saves the ball, game-winning shot, or three-point shot, whatever it was. They didn't call it. Adam Silver didn't come out because of how embarrassing of a lack of a no call that was. How mad it made the other team. How it helped the other team lose and Golden State win. He didn't come out and give a public statement, press conference. Oh, the referees missed that one. It shouldn't have happened. And now everybody knows in the NFL that there's a rule where the commissioner can come back and say, hey, we're going to replay it from that point because that wasn't right. And the word extraordinary is in that rule. I don't find this to be extraordinary. I told you guys the other day, I think extraordinary things would be like some kind of a natural disaster or an attack or, something like that happening to where physically, mentally, you can't go on and play that game anymore. You're not going to end it where it's at because that wouldn't be right. So you reschedule. That to me is the purpose of that rule. Now it's there. He hasn't said anything. He'll be doing his press conference on Wednesday this week. And every reporter there is going to dig on this topic. And he'll give some response without responding. But should he have to? And my thought on it is no, he does not. He does not owe anybody a press conference. The team has been communicated with. We've heard that. We heard that Sean Payton reached out. We heard that they called him after the game. The player has been fined. So it's been acknowledged that there should have been something there. But just because it was a bad call doesn't mean everybody's owed something. The competition committee is going to have to look at what they do with this moving forward if they're going to do anything. Maybe there's a rule change coming from this. Maybe not. But no, Goodell, in my opinion, doesn't owe anybody anything. Benjamin Watson, Saints tight end, probably going to retire this offseason, had a pretty good statement. Commissioner Goodell, we all realize that football is an imperfect game played, coached, and officiated by imperfect people. What occurred last Sunday in New Orleans, though, was outside of that expected and accepted norm. Your continued silence on this matter is unbecoming of the position you hold, detrimental to the integrity of the game, and disrespectful and dismissive to football fans everywhere. From the locker room to Park Ave, accountability is what makes our league great. Lead by example. We are watching. Basically saying you need to come out and acknowledge this from the league side publicly for everybody else. What does he owe the fans? What is he going to come out and say? If he says, yes, they blew the call, then everybody wants him to now use this rule they know about and replay it, which is not going to happen. There's not time before the Super Bowl to go back and replay that minute and 49 seconds to see what might have happened or what could happen this time. Everything's been printed. The tickets are out. The shirts are made. The advertising's done. The teams are there doing their thing. As a fan of a team that has been burned by multiple bad calls by the officials or lack of a call by officials over the last 8 years or so, trust me, I get it. And no, none of those games would have sent the Lions to the Super Bowl. One would have sent us further into the playoffs. One would have prevented Des Bryant's catch situation from ever happening. The pass interference call that was not called when the Lions played the Cowboys. So I get it. Bad calls suck. I've seen bad calls as a player. I've seen bad calls as an official, as a site coordinator for youth football leagues, as a fan watching on TV. It's very much a part of the game. So here's my two solutions that don't include Rodger Goodell having to give a public apology and somehow be sued because there was a bad play on the field. Here's two things that make it better. You allow teams to challenge any play for any reason. You don't increase the challenges. You make your refs, your officials, full-time paid employees who own and master their craft with one official or two officials in the booth at every game. So that process can be fast of the teams being able to challenge any play for any reason. Because maybe they saw something that the officials were not. Leaving the human aspect in sports, in athletics, because that stuff happens. Because you have to get lucky. And the Rams got lucky with that call. The Patriots got lucky with the phantom face mask. There's luck involved. Neither team bought off the officials. It was not rigged. But that stuff happens. Minimizing it is what we need. That's what I want to hear from Rodger Goodell this week, is some kind of plan, some kind of idea moving forward of how these things will be minimized, not how we can go back and try and change what has happened. Whew, got that out of my system, thankfully. All right. Who out there, and text in if you want, who out there grew up watching wrestling? Now, last year we did a big segment on the show about the WrestleMania. We've got the Royal Rumble this weekend, and I've been going back and rewatching old wrestling DVDs that I have of, the original WrestleManias, the original Royal Rumbles, original Survivor Series, SummerSlams. And I watch them here and there every now and then, reminisce, It's like watching an episode of Saved by the Bell every now and then when you're flipping channels. So I still follow it. I still enjoy it. It's reminiscent of my childhood, It's still a part of me. I grew up watching it. So it's fun to an aspect. It's like physical soap operas to a point. Sometimes the writing's bad. Sometimes the acting is really bad. But still, you move on. And, right now, currently, I think I pay attention to it maybe, I don't know, once a month I might watch a WWE show or skim through a show on streaming services to see what's going on. I follow it on Twitter and I'll see the different storylines or whatever, things like that. But this weekend you've got Royal Rumble 2019, and the big thing with the Royal Rumble has always been the 30-man over-the-top battle royal. Last year they added in the women's 30-woman battle royal. They have both of those again this year. I always liked those as a kid. Those were the matches. I'd try and get my parents to buy those pay-per-views all the time, and I think they purchased them maybe 4 or 5 times when I was a kid. And I always looked forward to them. It was like all the biggest stars. None of the Yankee, jock Yankees that just went out there and got beat, didn't have any names, didn't know who they were. But all the big stars were involved in these events. And, there's a lot of confirmed entrants this year. John Cena, maybe. We've heard he's got hurt. Randy Orton, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, to name a few. On the women's side, you've got Bayley, Natalya from the Hart family. Alexa Bliss is in it. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Mandy Rose, Charlotte Flair. So big names on both sides. Nia Jax, Nikki Cross, who's just came in recently from NXT, which is another branch of the WWE at this point. You've got championship matches, which are always associated to these pay-per-views as well, with Brock Lesnar defending his title, the Universal Championship, against Finn Balor. You got WWE Championship, Daniel Bryan taking on AJ Styles. Long career now for AJ Styles, for wrestling fans out there. Ronda Rousey defending the Raw Women's Championship because, there's supposed to be two brands like WCW and WWF, where I think is what they're going for with this two-brand thing, and it just doesn't work because you don't have the storylines available with half your roster, supposed to be on a different brand, but whatever. Another show. Ronda Rousey, former UFC fighter, taking on Sasha Banks, defending her title. You've got Asuka defending her title against Becky Lynch. The SmackDown Women's Championship. You've got tag team title matches, United States Championship match. It's going to be in the kickoff show. And now the Cruiserweight division as well. That championship is going to take place in the kickoff show in what looks like a 4-way match. So, hey, it starts Sunday. Kickoff show starts off about 7. If you have the WWE Network, that's the best way to watch it. Don't go out there and try and get it illegally or watch somebody else's feed. Have a watch party. Get together with some people if you're into that. I always think back at Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, things like that. Those were the guys that I always... Texas Tornado, Mr. Perfect in these matches. The original Undertaker when he came out back in like 1990. When Ric Flair came to the WWF. And in the mid-90s, you had stars from the WCW and the WWF switching brands. So it was like, oh, wow, when are these stars going to match up? And everybody always wanted to see Sting and Hogan and Flair and Hogan and the bigger names. And it never quite happened until they were a little bit older. And then it just wasn't quite as good as it could have been. It was just kind of cool to see, oh, look, it's finally them. But it's reminiscent for me, so I'll talk about an event every now and then on the show for sure. And it just so happens that this one takes place in a weekend we don't have any football games for me to talk about. And there were some other stories this week as well. Like Ronda Rousey came out that, okay, now maybe she's leaving the WWE already after this year's WrestleMania because she wants to start having a family. She's come out since that report dropped earlier this week and said, you know what, it's my vagina, mind your business. I don't have a plan as of right now to leave the WWE. We'll have to see. That very well could be something nobody wanted to get out there. And now it's out there and they could be scrambling to change the storyline before WrestleMania. It could have been something that she was going to have the title to WrestleMania, lose, and then in that loss, go and start a family. And just not be around for a while. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe she's leaving already. Maybe she's not. If she's leaving already, it must be nice to have that kind of acclaim from your previous career that you're able to just come do something you always wanted to do and then just walk away. If she wants to start a family, great. I'm not knocking that. Do your thing. That's all you. Have some kids. I love my daughter. She's great. But I'd be shocked if it was really that's as long as she was going to be around before she left to do that. But we'll see. She's defending her title this weekend at the Royal Rumble. Maybe she is not going to have the title after this weekend anymore. Maybe the writers are changing their minds. Also came out this week that while Roman Reigns has been out, he is also now doing movies with Big Cuz, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's going to be in his spinoff from the Fast and Furious series. He's going to play his brother in the movie. So congratulations to Roman Reigns on that one as he gets to hang out with his cousin, explore some stuff that might be, his career starting now, depending on how this cancer thing goes, or after he recovers, something he does after wrestling, which we're starting to see more and more with these guys. Okay, that's all I got for that. Let's do some fun facts and go enjoy the day. I know it's going to be a beautiful day here in Colorado. Me and my daughter are going to go out on a little lunch date, and then, like I said, I'm going to get some stuff done around the house for my lovely wife. Fun fact, Sean McVay and Julian Edelman played against each other in college. Sean McVay was a wide receiver at Miami of Ohio, and Julian Edelman at that time, who is now a receiver, was the quarterback for Kent State, and they faced off against each other in college. Now they're facing off this next Sunday in the Super Bowl, one as the coach, one as a player. Sean McVay, he just turned 33. AFC Super Bowl quarterback since 2003. And this is something I talked about last year on the show, and I'm going to talk about it this year on the show, and I'll probably talk about it next year on the show. There's a good chance. Because something's got to change. So since 2003, and really we can go, if you go to 2001, it goes Brady, Gannon, Brady, Roethlisberger, Manning, Brady, Roethlisberger, Manning, Roethlisberger, Manning. Then you've got Flacco, Manning, Brady, Manning, Brady. So you've got 8 Super Bowls for New England and Brady since 2003. He's got his 9th Super Bowl in 2001. So for the most part, in the last 2 decades, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different quarterbacks from the AFC make it to Super Bowls in 20 years. 5. That's unbelievable. And next year, it very well could be Brady again or Roethlisberger again. I highly doubt Flacco gets in there, and we all know that Rich Gannon's not coming back to play for anybody. 5 different quarterbacks have accounted for almost 20 years worth of Super Bowls. Great. I love it. Brady and Belichick have more championship appearances now than 97 different professional sports franchises spanning the 4 major sports in the United States. Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. 97 franchises. And I went through and I started, I was like, okay, the Avalanche, they were the they transferred. How many did they have? Let me look at that. Penguins, I had to look at that one real quick. The Oilers and the Flyers, nope, none of them had it. None of them were at that same number of championship appearances. Jackie Slater, 20 years playing for the Rams organization. His son is with the Pats organization. He will be rooting for his son in the Patriots, not the team that he spent 2 decades playing with. Same situation he had to pick back when they played, when Kurt Warner was the quarterback of the Rams. Do I pick the team that I played for, or do I pick the other team? And then lastly, this was just announced. I saw this just before I came on today. Both Curry brothers are confirmed for the 3-point contest this year. So both Steph and Seth will be competing. Seth has the higher 3-point completion percentage on the season right now, besting his brother Steph. So that's going to be good. I hope it comes down to the 2 of them in the final round, brother against brother. Final shot has to be put up by one of them to win it. That'll make it good. We'll see that here in a week or 2. It's coming up pretty fast, actually. So I have to look more into what's going on there. That's all I got for today. Enjoy your weekend. We got the Super Bowl next week. We got Super Bowl coverage coming up this week. We'll dive more into the interviews that are being talked about, what the team should do, who my pick is. And again, we're still trying to get Vance Johnson on the show. Even if he's not on the show, he's been a friend of the show. I want you to visit his website at vancecares.com. You can link through it from Real Deal Sports Talk with KP.com. Go to the website, reach out if you need help, reach out if you know somebody who needs help, or if you're just looking for a guest speaker or somebody to come out and be a keynote and work with your organization. He's doing big things, helping people with recovery, owning his sobriety, and changing lives. And you know how we do. Until next time, just be real.
Yo. Denver City life, living every night, getting it. All I see is green like it's night vision. My sight's different. My type driven. These niggas risking a life sentence over white flipping, but I ain't with it. I'm light skinned. My mind gifted, intelligence in my disposition, aristocratic image, and not to mention I'm nice with it. The ice drip over cardigan sweaters, tight fitting, white linen. This is the type of shit that entice women. The fly shit that I'm on is passing the sky's limits. Why it's not surprising to see that all of these guys live it. I vivid, solemnly swear the rhyme exquisite. With the time I'm giving, my mind flying, defying physics. I stay smooth like sipping out of champagne flutes. Always way cool, but it ain't a thing, just a flame cruise. You lame dudes, this that shit that you can't do. That's why your main boo steady watching me how I make moves.
My high city life got me way above the clouds. Paint the audience a picture every time I draw a crowd. I hold my weight with these bars, so make no mistake. I get to cooking like Chef Curry in Golden State. I'm motivated, I'm taking off, moving vertically. Saying that they were seeing me lyrically, that's absurd to me. Virtually murdering MCs on purpose. Cutting their body parts into pieces is verbal surgery. You say you hot, but you ain't burning to the 3rd degree. Time to bring some urgency in the state of emergency. There's no comparison to us, that's way embarrassing. Making something from nothing like ancient Native Americans. Man, listen, I'm undergoing a transition. My transmissions are filled with nothing but ambition. No remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers inside the Trojan horse.
Remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers inside the Trojan horse. Remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers.